Follow along as I take my 1984 Ramcharger to the next stage with coilovers, a doubler, and it's going to be stretched a few inches. Stay tuned. All right, starting inside. So I just started cleaning up all the stuff that the Ramcharger had. I think this side still has it over here, so I got to take that. Just get these out of my way. But really kind of what I'm doing, see the blue tape there? That's where I'm going to cut the wheel well. And I'm just going to cut around all these seams here. This is similar to what my brother did on the blue Ramcharger. And I'm going to take this whole piece and move it back. So before I get to any of the suspension work or whatever, I'll have this kind of ready to go. Just basically cut open so I know how far back I need to go. And then, then it's just a matter of, cutting this little piece out here where the new end of the fender well is going to sit. And then I'm going to, once I fill it in after the shock tower's in and all that good stuff, it'll be really easy for me to continue off the front of the factory fender well with some sheet metal and kind of match up with the end piece that's farther back. So that's the plan. I'm going to get to cutting and then get to the other side, get that marked, and then on to the suspension work. All right, we're making some progress on those inner fenders, but now I have to take the tires out. I'll show you what's going on. Okay, so I made some cuts all the way around. This actually went pretty easy. I used, just a cut-off wheel, get most of it, and then to get in the corners, I'm using this little hacksaw, which is actually pretty damn handy. I should have gotten one a long time ago for some finer stuff, but I'm having an issue where I can't fit either to finish that cut in there because of this lip here, and I don't want it to screw it all up, and because I've been pretty straight with my cuts so far. So got to pull the tires off, and I'm going to come underneath. So I'm on my big stands here, and here we are. Let's do it. All right, got to cut out. Let's take a look. So much room for activities. So my shock towers, I'm going to go vertical shock towers. So I got to figure out a good spot for that once I move the axle back. So I'll probably have to clear some more floor in order to do that because I'll be coming off the frame for those towers. But basically I have this piece scooted back. And so the new wheel well end of it is going to be over here. So I have a lot more stuff I need to cut out in order to make it work. Here, I'm just going to fill in eventually this piece of the body. I'll have a panel back that kind of shifts, kind of covers it, so it's not super big, but not a huge priority at the moment. So let's look at it on the inside. Took my tailgate off too. I kept getting in the way, but here it is. It's probably as far back as I'll go. Not sure that's going to be the final spot, but yeah. So cut back, I'll fill in. It'll be a lot easier to fill in with panel. Granted, I'll have a shock tower coming through, but yeah, it shouldn't be that hard to keep stuff from falling out. So that's where we're at. All right, day one on the stretch. Success. I started on the inside, so I wanted to cut those inner fenders. So I think that came out pretty well. And now I can move them around a little bit, and I can do some cutting on the floor once I get to the suspension and I have the final position of the axle. So let's take a peek here. All right, so there's the driver's side. I did the passenger side earlier. So now those are good to go. So now I can move on to the suspension mounts for the next day. And like I said, I'm gonna have to cut in a little bit into the wheel well a little further, or excuse me, onto the floor pan for the shock towers that I got. So I actually ordered these a long time ago. These are from RuffStuff. I haven't looked at them, so let's take a peek. I'm hoping that they'll work. I mean, I did some rough measurements. A lot of good packing in here, but these are I believe they're 12-inch towers. So yeah, oh, man, they're stuck together. But yeah, they're stuck together here. Let's see if I can pry them apart. All right, got it out. I will say RuffStuff has definitely stepped up their game as far as packaging. That was well packaged in there. So yeah, 12-inch tower. Let's see if I can eyeball it even. So you see I have to go in. Whoa, sorry for the light. To get to the frame rail, I gotta, depending on where I'm gonna go with the shock tower, I'll know more once I move the axle. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut in the floor a little bit, but I'm just gonna hold the tower up and see how, kind of get an idea of where it goes. All right, RuffStuff tower sitting on the floor, so it's gonna sit on the frame and it's gonna be a few inches in, but you kind of get the idea. So it'll be down and just a little bit lower, maybe like 3 inches lower, but I'm not running crazy long shocks on this. I think they're about 11.5-inch travel Fox 2.0s for like a 1-ton Dodge application. I figured like, man, probably work good enough for the Ramcharger. So yeah, that's what I'm going to try to make work. And in the future, if I wanted to link it, maybe I can use some short coilovers. I don't know. So we'll see. But this is kind of the plan. So it'll go somewhere in here and mount to the frame, but just eyeballing things at this point. That's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next one in the series. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.